We had a lot of fun and some drama in New Zealand the other week. We spent around 6 nights driving from Auckland down to Wellington and then back. Where we started was the Sky Tower, where we went up all the way to the top. You can take a lift that has a glass bottom, so you can see the lift going up and down. Yeah, you can see the shaft. And from the top, I think for me, it was the best view basically, because you have a 360 view around Auckland. Both sides of the ocean, you can see towards Australia, the sea. You can see the bays, the harbours, everything. And also, if you have the board, you can do a skywalk when they take you outside. And you are tied to the building and you can walk around in a steel walkway or something. I don't know how can people do that. And also there is a bungee jumping where you can basically jump from the top, and they have these wires fitted next to the building so you don't get smashed back into the tower. There were some people doing it. So obviously, well, go ahead. Must be fun. The next one, we didn't have a lot of time, so we headed down to the east coast of Auckland. We ended up in Mission Bay, and where we were driving, the water was beautiful blue, green colored, and there was plenty parking spaces there and food places. So if you are driving and you are on a road trip, it's probably a nice place to just stay for an hour or half an hour just to walk a bit. Look around. They have some nice fountains, everything, but probably I wouldn't go into the water. It was quite cold. So, but the view was nice, so definitely worth doing. From there, we headed down to Hamilton. Unfortunately, the traffic was so bad that we spent more than 2 hours just to get from the city after the airport. It should have taken around 20 minutes. But it seems that this is normal, so just something to keep in mind if you plan to drive, that it's going to be a very long one. We were late in Hamilton, so we couldn't do a lot there, but next day we headed down to the Waitomo Caves, where you can see these bioluminescent glowing worms. They hang from the top of the caves and they have this spider web-like material going down, and they use that to catch their prey, and they have this blue bright color. Unfortunately, you are not allowed to use your camera or your phone or anything, but they have a little boat tour as well, so it is quite nice as you can just go around in the boat. It's water up, you have the worms, and it looks very nice. And you can, I think you can only see these worms in Australia and in New Zealand. So if you are there, definitely get and check them out. The next stop was in Hobbiton. So I did not see The Lord of the Rings nor the Hobbiton, nor the Hobbit movie, but it was very exciting and interesting because the tour, so you must take a tour and you have a tour guide, and the guy basically tells you a lot of interesting stories and about the filming and how they built it. Like there is a tree that was there when they did the Lord of the Rings, but it had died, so they had to rebuild it, and they used like steel and all kinds of building materials to do the tree to replicate the old one. And they had like over 200,000 leaves ordered from Taiwan, and they hand painted them, and it was very interesting. And also they talked about the perspective, so one door was smaller, the other one was bigger. So when the hobbits came, of course they had the big door, so they looked smaller. But when Gandalf came, he used a small door, so he looked bigger. And also they had like a special carriage. When Frodo was sitting behind Gandalf, so he looked tiny. It is interesting, even if you are not a fan of the movies. I think it's good to see. There is a lot to see, and it's very interesting. After that, we went to Rotorua, where we had some drama, unfortunately, in the morning. A lovely person broke into our car, smashed both windows, the small windows by the mirror, and completely messed up the ignition. Thankfully, they couldn't steal it, or he or she, I don't know how many of them are there. So it was nice that we had to spend like hours dealing with the police and get a replacement car because we couldn't start it, unfortunately. But when you stay in Rotorua, in the town, you don't really need to go outside for the paying parks, because you have these pools inside of the town. So there is a park where you have like many pools, like small ones, big ones, and they are bubbling and steaming. The other one is like a hot stream feeding into it, and you have like boiling mud and things like that. It's very, very nice. And there is a lake nearby as well, which has this weird color. It is something you don't see in many places, I think, in the world. And later we headed out to where you have the Lady Knox Geyser. Unfortunately, it was a catalyzed geyser, not natural. And we didn't see it because they only do it in the morning, and then we arrived, of course, in the afternoon, since our car got messed up. But the park itself, they have a park where you can see the champagne pool. So that pool is like the main attraction, I think, in Rotorua, because that is the first picture when they talk about Rotorua. It's like a huge pool. It is steaming, and it has this colorful edge, this yellowish, orangish, and the lake is greenish from the volcanic and geothermal activities. It has a lot of minerals in it. And everywhere in the park you have this rotten smell. There are also two other lakes that has like a very bright green color, and that changes over the day depending on the sun angle. And they have like a nice hike. You can spend at least 2, 3, 4 hours there. There are some pools as well where they used to extract kerosene and crude oil, because that is extracted by this water and it comes up, and you can and they basically skim the oil on top of this pool. It is probably, I don't know how many places are there in the earth, but the only other place I've seen these was in Iceland, but they didn't have this oily thing there. So, well, if you are there, have a look. You will definitely like it. And the admission is not that expensive. It's like $30, while the others cost like nearly 100. From there, we headed down to Wellington, and on the way we stopped in Haka Falls. That is something in person you need to see. You need to feel the strength of the nature. Over 200,000 liters of water get through every second. It's like a waterfall of 200 meters in length and 11 meters drop. And each side there is a nice lake or very wide river. You can do like jet boating, and the water is crystal clear, so you can see to the bottom. There are some mountain bike and hiking trails, so you can spend some very nice time there. And if you are there, and if you have a lot of time, there is a place called Kerosene Creek, where some brain-eating amoebas or bacteria or something live, and you are not allowed to put your head underwater because they can get into your head through your nose or your ears. So just something to keep in mind if you go there. It is interesting. I did not have time to go there, so we skipped that one. But if you do, just have a look. On the way, we stopped in Victoria Bridge. It was around Rotorua. It is nothing special, but if you drive there, just stop, spend 5 minutes. It's so nice. I don't know, like 100-meter deep. You can walk on the bridge, and the view from there, it is amazing, and it's definitely worth checking out. So after that, on the way to Wellington, we went to Mordor from the movies. It is up, I think the elevation is around 1,000 meters, and you can see the mountain where they have that eye on the top, and the mountain is like have a lot like snow on the top. The view is nice. It looks very strange because there is not a lot of vegetation. And also it's like a military firing range, so you are not really allowed to go into that. But on the other side there is a national park, and then that is something we checked out on the way back. And when we arrived to Wellington, we were lucky with the weather, very lucky. It was sunny, no clouds at all. So when we hiked up to the Mount Victoria lookout, probably the best lookout you can get in Wellington, you can see around and you can see all the bays, you can see the city, you can see the airport. And on the way up, it's a very steep one, just to keep in mind. You can see the Hobbit hiding place where they were hiding from those black knights or the dark knights or something. But the tree you had in the movie, that is a prop. It's not there anymore, but it is signposted, so you can have a look if you are a fan of that movie. And when you go down, you can go down towards Oriental Beach, which is a very interesting one because you don't expect to have such a beach in Wellington. And there were people swimming, and the weather was like so windy and cold, even if it was sunny. Yeah, it wasn't really, I don't know how they enjoyed it, or how can you enjoy the water in that weather, but they did. From Wellington, and if you are there, if you have a bit more time, just go to the New Zealand Museum. It's a new building. It has a lot of interactive tools to do, like about volcanic stuff, like a shaking house to replicate one of the earthquakes. It is very interactive and very informative, so we liked it. You might love it too. From Wellington, we also went to Martinborough to try some wines. And if you go down to the beach through, you need to do like you need to drive around and go behind the mountains, and you can get to this place called Putanguria Pinnacles, where you can hike around 40 minutes one way and along riverbed, and you get to this place where you have these pinnacles on each side, and when you are standing there, they are like 100-meter tall. It looks very cool. If you have the time, go there and check it out. And also the beach is very cool when you get out. So just something to keep in mind.
Start with the Pinot Gris actually. So it's next grape variety. It's really popular in New Zealand. You have beautiful sweetness, beautiful fruit characteristic like apricots. Make it really easy to drink. It's nice berries, Thai food and Indian food. Really beautiful.
And from there, make sure that you, when you're driving up, if you do such a road trip, you go on the west side of the mountain, because there is a national park where you can see these crystal clear streams and waterfalls. We didn't have good weather, so it was raining, unfortunately. It was again in the movie, obviously, but it's only like a 10-minute hike from the car park. We didn't have the gear to go and do the 1 hour ones, and also there was this other one where the water just got squeezed in between these rocks, and it looks very cool. It looks very cool. When we got back to Auckland, basically that was it, and we had a really nice, so the reason I wanted to tell you is there was a little, at the airport we stayed, and in the evening just went out for a quick walk, and there was this random little fenced off area. There were a couple of goats, llamas or alpacas, I don't know which one is which. And there was this little guy who was just so friendly, and we had some fun with the goats. So yeah, that was our trip. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching.